My name is Gene Xu. I'm a China business coach, trainer, and advisor, but more importantly, I'm an ABC. That's American-born Chinese. This gives me an opportunity to kind of go back in time and really think about the kind of defining moments of my life that helped me become the person that I am today. At the intersection between America and China, I'm concerned about the lack of cultural awareness on both sides. So I started having conversations with my unborn son. I want to try to explain our world in context in order for him to make better sense of his world. And I want him to develop a healthier attitude, mindset, and approach towards anyone from a different culture. I was taken out of the school system for the entire year, and I was dropped into the school system in Taiwan. Welcome to Season 2 of Generational ABC Podcast, another series of conversations between me and my unborn son, one ABC to another. The interesting thing is because it's so important now, or such an advantage now, to be able to speak Chinese, that your cousins, which are my cousins' children who are growing up in Southern California, they're all taking Chinese lessons. Hey, little buddy. It's your dad again. So one of the things that I think I just finished what I'm going to call Season 1, which is kind of just starting this process of having conversations with you before you were born. And also trying to give you some insights and ideas on things that are going to affect you as you grow up in your world. One of the things I think that always helps when somebody is trying to share a story or give a lesson to someone else is to tell something about their own story. So I'm actually pretty excited about this because this gives me an opportunity to kind of go back in time and really think about the kind of defining moments of my life that helped me become the person that I am today, and the type of things that I'm passionate about and the type of things that I do. So, so I think the first, and I'm going to try to maybe just do one of these for this set of videos. Every day I'll just think about another kind of defining moment. But I think the first defining moment probably happened around 1976, I would say, maybe 77. And basically that's when I was taken out of the school system here in the United States. I had just finished the second grade, again, growing up in Atlanta, Georgia. And I was taken out of the school system for the entire year. And I was dropped into the school system in Taiwan. Now, why did that happen? That happened because your grandfather and my father, he decided to take a one-year sabbatical from Georgia State University, where he was teaching physics, and go to Taiwan to teach a year of physics at Taiwan University. Okay, and since I was young enough, he basically took the whole family, which was just, I'm an only child, so it was me and my mother. So the point is I was taken out of the school system here in the US, and I was dropped in what to me was an extremely different environment, different culture, different language. And I can remember, I remember very few specific details, but I do remember that because I did not have the foundation of being able to speak Chinese, even though I was in the third grade, I actually had to get put in first grade because I had to learn kind of the basics of what they teach people in Taiwan when they're teaching them how to speak Chinese. And so I had to start in the first grade. And the way that the school system was set up in Taiwan then is they only kind of did a half day of school. So the first graders were in the morning, and then the second graders were kind of in the afternoon. So it was a much shorter day of school, but for me, because my age was third grade, I ended up going to first grade in the morning, and I can still remember, having lunch with the teachers, and then going into second grade in the afternoon. And that's kind of really all that I remember. And I think the real interesting thing when I look back is, so spending that 1 year in Taiwan is really how I got my foundation for being able to speak Mandarin Chinese. And one of the interesting things now is, now that I'm living in Southern California, or we're living in Southern California, I get to spend more time with my cousins. And because many of them also live in Southern California. And the interesting thing is because it's so important now, or it's such an advantage now, to be able to speak Chinese, that your cousins, which are my cousins' children who are growing up in Southern California, they're all taking Chinese lessons or Mandarin lessons from basically when they can start to speak. And it's funny that your cousins can actually speak Chinese better than their parents. I have, one of my cousins, he's trying to use kind of like Google Translate to help, so he can help his daughter or his son do kind of like homework, which is given in Chinese from the Chinese school or the Chinese classes that they're taking. So that's one of the things that has changed kind of really quite dramatically over the period in which I grew up and the period in which you grew up, is when I grew up, there was no desire from anybody outside of China to learn how to speak Chinese, and there was no advantage to being able to speak Chinese. But that has completely changed. Now, it's not just children are learning Chinese, but adults are also learning Chinese. So one of the things that you will be raised is you will be raised at least bilingual. We're going to raise you speaking Chinese and English, and hopefully you're not like your father. When I was growing up and my parents or your grandparents tried to force me to learn Chinese and to learn to read and write Chinese, I basically resisted because of all the peer pressure, where it was almost kind of like I was ashamed if people heard me speaking Chinese in public. So it was, it's just a completely different world, to provide you some contrast of the way that we thought back then and the way that we think today. And I'm sure at some point when you're older, you're going to realize how important it is not only to be kind of multilingual, but also to be multicultural. Being able to develop relationships and communicate effectively with people from all different types of cultures and values is going to be really important. And I think that's what a lot of kind of adults today struggle with, because they didn't grow up in an environment where it was really important to understand other cultures, especially people here in America, because for the past 70 years, America was kind of like the dominant country, superpower, economy, cultural exporter. So Americans are never kind of aware that there are people outside of America that, well, that would actually prefer to speak a different language and that may or may not share the same set of values. And the most important example of that, obviously, today is the tensions, trade tensions, that are happening between America and China. And it will just be very, 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 very interesting how this current situation evolves. And hopefully I won't stop having these conversations with you, and we can kind of almost have a record of the evolution of how people think, how people engage, and how people ultimately cooperate to make the world a better place for everybody. All right, so this could be the start of a next set of episodes. We'll call it season 2 for now, but just like you don't have a name, calling it season 2 is just an idea. What we really want to do, or what I want to do, is I just want to make sure I continue to record and document these conversations. All right, love you, little buddy. You don't have a name yet, but hopefully soon. Listen and subscribe on Apple Podcasts.